Welcome to another video session on signal analysis. In this session, we will be looking into signal analysis in the vector domain. What is a vector? A vector has magnitude and direction. If it has only magnitude, we call it a scalar. There is a lot of commonality between vectors and signals. All signals can be represented in terms of orthogonal functions. And these orthogonal functions specify some properties. Let us look into the orthogonality concept in vectors. All signals are basically vectors, and a vector can be represented in terms of its coordinates. So if you consider two vectors f and x, we can compute the dot product of the two vectors by using the formula f dot x. The dot product of vector f and x is equal to mod f multiplied by mod x multiplied by cos of theta, where theta is the angle between the two vectors f and x. Now, if we project the vector f onto x, we call that as Cx. So Cx is a component of vector f along x, and f can be expressed as a vector addition of f is equal to Cx plus E, where E is called the error vector as shown here. Now this error vector is minimum when the projection is perpendicular. The projection of one vector is perpendicular to the other. Now this projection can vary. So it can be more when it is projected below this or above this. Let us consider those two cases. So here the projection of f on x is c1 of c1x, and in this case it is c2x. In both the cases, f will be equal to c1x plus e1, which is same as c2x plus e2. So as we can see, the error vectors are different, but it is minimum when it is perpendicular. The projection of one vector upon the other is minimum when the error vector is minimum. I mean, when the error vector is perpendicular to the vector which is on which it is being projected. So the component of f along x is given as Cx, which can be computed as C into mod x is equal to f cos theta. So we want to find out what is C, how we compute C. So we multiply mod x on both sides. So we get C mod x square is equal to mod f mod x cos theta. But C into mod x square is equal to f dot x. Therefore, C is equal to, we get the final equation, C is equal to the dot product of f and x divided by the dot product of x with x. And we know that dot product of x with x is mod x square. So in this equation, x will not be cancelled because they are vector products. And if c is equal to 0 in this equation, then we say that the two vectors f and x are orthogonal. That means they are mutually perpendicular. So this is as far as two simple vectors are considered. So we say the dot product of the two vectors f dot x is equal to 0. That is when the cos of that angle, when the angle is 90 degrees, is equal to 0. Therefore, f mod f and mod x are not zeros, but the angle cos of 90, so that becomes 0. So therefore, the dot product becomes 0. So when the dot product becomes 0, we say that both the vectors are mutually perpendicular or they are orthogonal. So this is the condition for two vectors to be orthogonal or mutually perpendicular. So now let us extend the orthogonality to signals. So the concept of orthogonality can be applied to signals. Now let us consider two signals f1 of t and f2 of t. Similar to the vectors, we can approximate the two signals over the interval t1 to t2 as f1 of t is equal to c1 to f2 of t plus fe of t in the interval t1 to t2, where c12 is the projection of the signal f1 of t onto the signal f2 of t, and fe of t is the error signal as a result of this projection. So from which we can calculate the fe of t as fe of t is equal to f1 of t minus c12 f2 of t. So one possible way of minimizing this error is to integrate this between the over the interval t1 to t2. So when we integrate it and take the mean of that distance, then we call that this will not reduce the error to a great extent. So therefore, we take the mean or the square of this. So therefore, we call this as epsilon, which is the mean square error, which is given by 1 by t2 minus t1 integral t1 to t2 fe of t whole square. So this is mean and the square value, mean square value. So since fe of t is equal to f of t minus c12 f2 of t dt, f1 of t minus c12 f2 of t dt, so we can compute the mean square error of the signal. And this value of c12 can be computed, for which the mean square error will be minimized. So that can be computed by differentiating epsilon with respect to c12 and equating it to 0. So therefore, when you differentiate that before applying the differentiation rule, if you take the f1 of t minus c12 f2 of t whole square, you get f1 square of t minus 2 f1t c12 f2 of t and f2 square of t c12 square. So this is what we get. Now when you differentiate, wherever c12 is not present, the differentiation of that quantity is 0. So this term will be 0. So differential will apply only for this term and this term. And we are equating to 0. So even this mean value, that is 1 by T2 minus T1, will be eliminated. So we can compute the value of C12 after differentiating. We will get C12 is equal to integral T1 to T2 F1 of T F2 of T dt divided by integral T1 to T2 F2 square of T dt. So this denominator term here represents the energy of the signal F2 of T. So therefore, we have computed the C12, that is the projection of one signal F1 of T upon the other signal F2 of T. And when we say that the C12, this projection value is equal to 0, then we say that they are orthogonal. The signals F1 and F2 are orthogonal over the interval T1 to T2. And hence, the orthogonality of F1 and F2 gives the condition that integral T1 to T2 F1 of T F2 of T dt should be equal to 0. In this case, the denominator cannot be 0 because 1 by 0 would be infinity. So therefore, if this right hand side should be equal to 0, then only the numerator term has to be equal to 0. Now, this is a condition for orthogonality of two signals. Now, let us take an example and show that the two signals f of t and x of t are orthogonal. So here, given are two signals f of t and x of t over the interval 0, 1. Now we know that from the above discussion, integral t1 to t2 f of t x of t dt is equal to 0. That is the first integral of the multiplication of the first signal and the second signal between the limit is equal to 0. So when we integrate it, we see that we get the value as 0. So therefore, we say that the two signals f of t and x of t are orthogonal to each other. That means they are mutually perpendicular. Next, let us take another example and represent by another signal here. So here is a square wave and we have to represent this using a sine t. So this is f of t and this is x of t. So we want to find out what is c. So f of t is equal to c into x of t. As we know that when f of t is projected on x of t, so there is the projection, that is c. So we have to compute what is c. So from the previous discussion, we know that c is given by the formula c is equal to integral t1 to t2 f of t x of t dt divided by integral t1 to t2 x square of t dt. So we will evaluate the numerator and denominator separately and finally substitute here and compute the value of c. So if you compute the integral of the numerator, it turns out to be 4, and if you compute the integral of the denominator, it turns out to be pi. So therefore, c is equal to 4 by pi. Then we get f of t is equal to 4 by pi sine t. So we have expressed the square wave in terms of sine t by using this 4 by pi as a projection. Next, let us look into what is orthogonal vector space. So it is a complete set of orthogonal vectors. If you consider a three-dimensional vector space as shown here, and A is a vector in this three-dimensional vector space denoted by x1, y1, and z1. So if you consider the three unit vectors Vx, Vy, Vz along the direction or the axis x, y, and z respectively, then these three unit vectors are mutually orthogonal and therefore they satisfy the condition that the unit vector multiplied by the dot product of the same unit vector is equal to 1 and the dot product of different unit vectors is equal to 0. So which we can again generalize by writing it as VA, the dot product of VA and VB is equal to 1 when A is equal to B, and it is equal to 0 when A is not equal to B. The vector A can be represented in terms of its components as unit vectors given by the vector A is equal to x1 Vx, where x1 is a projection along the unit vector Vx, and y1 Vy plus z1 Vz. So any vector in this three-dimensional space can be represented in terms of these three unit vectors Vx, Vy, and Vz completely. Now, if you consider an n-dimensional space, then any vector A in that space can be represented as A is equal to x1 Vx plus y1 Vy plus z1 Vz, etc. up to n1 Vn. And as the magnitude of the unit vectors is unity for any vector A, then the component of A along x-axis is A into Vx, along y is A into Vy, and along z is A into Vz, and so on. So if you consider in a n-dimensional space, the component of some arbitrary axis, G, the component is Cg is given by A into Vg. So we want to compute what is Cg here. C, by substituting equation 2 into the equation 3, we get Cg is equal to x1 Vx plus y1 Vy plus z1 Vz plus etc. plus g1 Vg, that is the arbitrary. We're considering unit vector Vg plus n1 Vn into Vg. Now, when the product of the unlike unit vectors will be, the dot product of unlike unit vectors will be 0 and like unit vector will be 1 as we have previously discussed. So therefore, this entire term on the right hand side turns out to be G1 because Vg dot Vg is equal to 1. So if the dot product of Vg with Vg is not equal to 1 but it is equal to some constant k, then A into Vg will be equal to G1 into K, from which we can compute what is G1, which is given by A Vg divided by K. Let us look into the orthogonal signal space. So in the previous discussion, we had looked into orthogonal signals. If you consider x1 of t, x2 of t, and x3 of t to be orthogonal to each other, that means they are mutually perpendicular, then we can represent this signal space. And if there are n such mutually orthogonal signals, x1 of t, x2 of t, x3 of t, etc. to xn of t, then they form a n-dimensional orthogonal signal space. Next, let us look into the signal approximation using orthogonal functions. And then we find out the mean square error. Let us consider the n mutually orthogonal functions x1 of t, x2 of t, etc. up to xn of t over the interval t1 to t2. And as these signals are orthogonal to each other, the product of any two signals xj of t and xk of t, where j is not equal to k, they have to satisfy the orthogonality condition. That is, integral t1 to t2 xj of t xk of t dt should be equal to 0, and integral t1 to t2 x square k of t dt will be equal to some value k. So by adding all these components, we get f of t is equal to c1 x1 of t plus c2 x2 of t, etc. up to plus cn xn of t plus fe of t, where fe of t is the error function. So we can write it in a concise form as sigma r is equal to 1 to n cr xr of t plus fe of t, from which we can compute fe of t is equal to f of t minus sigma r equals 1 to n cr xr of t. And we can compute the mean square error by taking the mean and square of this error function. So which is given by 1 by t2 minus t1, this is t1 here, integral t1 to t2 into f of t minus sigma r equals 1 to n cr xr of t, this whole square dt. So we can minimize this mean square error by differentiating with respect to each of the different values of c and equating it to 0. Then we get this as d by dck of 1 by t2 minus t1 integral t1 to t2 f of t minus sigma r equals 1 to n cr xr of t whole square dt should be equated to 0, and this turns out to be, and wherever we know that when r is equal to k, those terms remain and all other terms will become 0. So therefore, we finally end up with this equation ck is equal to integral t1 to t2 f of t xk of t dt divided by integral t1 to t2 x square k of t dt. And for this ck term to be equal to 0, and we know that before that, we know that the denominator is an energy and it is equal to some value k. So therefore, if this integral has to be equal to 0, then we say that f of t and xk of t are orthogonal. So the mean square error we represent it as epsilon, and we compute for the individual components by using this formula. So this equation epsilon is equal to 1 by t2 minus t1 integral t1 to t2 f square of t dt plus c1 square k1 plus c2 square k2 plus etc. up to cn square kn is used to evaluate the mean square error. Closed and complete set of orthogonal functions. Now, if you consider a set of n mutually orthogonal functions x1 of t, x2 of t, etc. up to xn of t, over the interval t1 to t2. It is called as closed and complete set when there exists no function f of t that satisfy the condition integral t1 to t2 f of t xk of t dt is equal to 0. So we compute the orthogonal set. F of t can be approximated with this orthogonal set by adding the components along the mutually orthogonal signals as f of t is equal to c1 x1 of t plus c2 x2 of t, etc. up to plus cn xn of t plus fe of t. And the infinite series converges to f of t when the mean square error is 0. Next, the orthogonality in complex functions can also be found. The signals f1 of t and f2 of t are complex functions. Then we can express f1 of t in terms of f2 of t as f1 of t is equal to c12 f2 of t with the negligible error. Then c12 can be computed as integral t1 to t2 f1 of t f2 conjugate of t dt divided by integral t1 to t2 mod f2 of t whole square dt. And we say that f1 of t and f2 of t are orthogonal like in the previous cases when c12 is equal to 0. So when that means integral t1 to t2 f1 of t f2 conjugate of t dt should be equal to 0. So this condition represents the orthogonality condition for the complex functions. So with this, we end the unit 1 discussion. Next, we will look into the unit 2. Thank you.